Welcome to Superstitions and Traditions. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Trish.
And this is our podcast about history, shenanigans, and the fun stuff that happened. And we have fun stuff that was shenanigans this time.
Oh, it's going to be great.
It is.
I salute thee.
I salute thee too. So today is Point of View Historical Edition, and we are going to look at the point of view of one of the 40 elephants.
I love a good circus.
Were not elephants, no circus. They were a notorious girl gang.
Oh, that's even better than a circus. Much better than a circus.
In Victorian London.
Ooh.
Kind of a Robin Hood type thing. Robbed from the rich. They didn't give to the poor. They robbed from the rich, sold it, and provided themselves with a luxurious life.
Oh, I read it was great. Fast cars.
Yes. It actually started before there were cars, but we will get all into it.
Okay, I'm excited.
So,
I'm ready.
I have written from the point of view of like the early 1900s, not cars yet, but still a good time.
Still a good time. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to jump in.
I'm ready.
All right.
Here we go.
The social and political changes happening around us are severely limiting us. The introduction of the Industrial Revolution has brought a deeper divide between the social classes. The rich are getting richer, but for us here in the Elephant and Castle District, the rich seem to flaunt their privilege, while those of us...
And we're sure this is back from the 1900s, not present day. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yes.
Okay.
They seem to flaunt their privilege, while those of us with not struggle more. High-end fashion and jewelry stores on every corner, and the women shopping in them with their husbands' money act as though we are invisible unless they want us to wait on them.
Okay.
We want to walk around in jewels and finery, but just walking in a store, all eyes are on us, and the coins in our pockets won't go far to purchase anything. Thankfully, I have found a group of women to let me live as the rich. The devotion to each other and respect we have for one another is more like family. We have money, we have each other, and we have jewels and finery. We live like the rich and terrify them at the same time.
It's pretty awesome.
It is perfect. We have found the perfect way to pose as their servants, gaining their trust, then cleaning them out. Together in our fancy dress, modified with pockets, we can walk into any store we want and have acceptance and respect from the shopkeepers while we rob them blind.
Oh, you gotta love it.
If anything is suspected, we alibi each other. This is the life we all deserve, and giving those who look down on us what they deserve is pure bliss.
Okay. This is pretty exciting.
This is exciting.
This is very exciting. So you are one of the...
I wrote as if I were one of the 40 elephants, which was actually, we don't know where the number 40 came from. At one point, they estimate the gang as being up to 70 or 80 women.
Okay.
There was always a queen. They called them the queen, a gang leader, who was pretty notorious in her own right. One of the most well-known, her name was Diamond Annie.
She's my favorite.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lady prior to her. Her name was Mary
Polly Carr.
Mary Polly Carr, yes. Her name was Mary Carr. Sometimes Polly Carr was an alias she used, and then there was another alias also. Both Mary and Alice Diamond came from crime families, basically. Both of their fathers were notorious outlaws.
And they kind of started in crime at a young age,
They
correct?
did. Diamond Mary, for one, was well known to police and had a criminal record at 14.
She stole chocolate.
Yes. Yes. So they started becoming well known in the mid 1800s, but so like around the 1850s, 60s. They think they probably existed. Historians think they probably existed, just not as big and bold since the late 1700s.
Okay, and 1700s?
Yes.
Wow, they went on for a long time.
Diamond Annie, her father, her name was Alice Diamond. Why they called her Annie, we don't know. But her last name was Diamond. She also wore big diamond rings as like brass knuckles.
Yes. And she was like 5'8".
Uh-huh.
So she was just this amazing, strong 5'8" woman. And most men back in the day were like 5'6". So, so she towered, and she could pack a punch.
She could pack a punch, and she did when she needed to.
Uh-huh.
She took over as the ringleader queen of this gang when she was 20.
Oh, that's young.
Yes. And she had respect from the other members. They didn't really question her authority. They did what she told them to do, and she ran a well-oiled machine.
Oh, she had a brilliant mind.
Yes. So she would vet anyone who wanted to join. They had to meet certain standards. They had to prove their devotion to the gang, because that's one of the biggest downfalls is when somebody betrays you.
Uh-huh.
Her downfall came when a member of the gang got married, and she did not. Lots of the members were married, and usually their husbands were in another, not associated, but ran side by side male gang,
kind of the Elephant Mob, or something like that.
So they ran the same district, but there was a male and a female division that they weren't necessarily connected, but they respected each other, kind of worked alongside each other. So she married someone that Annie did not approve of. And the newspaper article, I can't remember the exact wording, but it made me laugh so hard. The gist of it was they got drunk and realized they were mad at this woman.
Maybe this wasn't quite right.
And they went over to her house, restrained her, beat the husband to a bloody pulp, and Alice went to jail for it. She was imprisoned for 18 months, hard labor, for beating up this guy, this husband. And when she came out of jail, the torch had been passed. She was fine with it, opened a brothel, went on.
Did she open a brothel? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So they would go into these up-end stores, and they had on this elaborate clothing.
Right.
And
they had on the modern, big, floofy, fancy Victorian garb that high society wore.
And so during that time, people didn't question females about going into the dressing room with them. So if you wanted to go into the dressing room and try on stuff, there wasn't any way somebody
It was almost a necessity because of the corsets and all the layers, and you had to have help getting dressed.
And then they could go in and take that and then sneak it out. And then they had people that would fence it, correct? That would sell it for them.
Yeah, they never kept anything they stole. As quick as they got it out of the store, they had it passed off to the fencers. They would get cash, nowhere near, retail value, but
still, you sell enough of that, and it's high end, and then and they got enough to live like the high society.
And they did. They threw big parties. They had a good time.
Oh, they did. They drove fast cars, drank good alcohol.
Whenever cars came in,
yes,
they would ride up in limos to these stores. 2 or 3 of them would get out. It was always a group. of a couple of women. And nobody questioned them. They could walk around the store and just tuck things into the pockets that were sewn into their big fancy Victorian poofy butted dresses and walk out with it. And it'd be 45 minutes, hour later that they realized the half of their inventory was gone.
And there was also Lillian Goldstein, right? She was the bobbed hair bandit.
Yeah, she's the one who took over.
Is that when
Alice Diamond went to jail?
Okay, so then Lillian became the queen.
She did. Yes. Now, she flaunted it, man. She would get her car and just drive it into the store.
Right.
And jump in, get what she wanted, jump in, drive away, and like she didn't try to pretend she wasn't shoplifting. She let them know, I'm here. This is mine now. So,
okay. Now there was also in Brooklyn, New York, a bobbed hair bandit that was stealing and doing stuff too, but they aren't connected. It's a whole different set. That was Celia Clooney, who was in New York around, I can't remember, but it was kind of around the 1920s, because they became roaring 20 icons in the U.S. And then Europe was kind of like, okay, hey, look, we have our own over here too. And so you have this gang of women that are just like living their best life, because I guess they realized that it was either live in poverty,
right,
or find a way to get out, which at that time was to get this gang going and to find this group of women that they could trust and depend on and become modern day rob from the rich and give to the
rob to the rich and give to yourself.
Rob to the rich and give to yourself.
Yep.
So, wow.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good time.
They did have a great time. Can you just imagine? Just imagine being in that store and you just have this group of women. They come in and you just think, oh, they're shopping. They're going about their day. They're doing their stuff. And then they leave and you go,
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Where'd my stuff go?
What happened? And they would also masquerade as housemaids. Yes.
Yep. They would provide fake references for each other, get a job as a servant, get real in good with the family, earn their trust, and then just one day while they're gone, clean out, disappear.
Just take it all. And I wonder why there was such a hard time catching them. I guess just the way, because that's a long time for that gang to...
Right. Well, and one of the main reasons is because they got rid of it so fast.
So they didn't,
they didn't hold on to anything they stole. There weren't cameras or anything to prove it.
Yeah, there wasn't the technology. And
it was just, they suspected them, but they were never able to catch them red-handed, which was kind of a necessity to prosecute.
To prove there wasn't evidence to...
And they were such a tight-knit group, they weren't going to turn on each other.
No. So they kept all of that secretive and...
Which was one of Alice Diamond, something she put into place and did really well was making sure they were loyal.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
And so in 23, Maggie Hughes, one of them, was arrested for stealing 34 diamond rings.
Yeah.
How do you steal 34 diamond rings?
What happened was she walks into the store and she was by herself, which was not something they ever did. Sometimes Diamond would go in the store because everybody knew her. They knew her reputation. They knew she was a thief. So she would go in and walk around.
Decoy.
Yes. And that's what they called it, the decoy. All eyes would be on her. So the 2 or 3 women who walked in after her were free to steal.
Just take everything.
And so then the blame went on Diamond Annie, who had nothing on her if she ever got caught. Because she didn't steal anything.
To prosecute. Right.
So then they're not paying attention to who these other women were because they just know, even though they were watching her, it was her somehow.
Oh, they lived a high life too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Maggie Hughes.
Okay.
So she goes in, completely against all of their codes and everything that they had in place, goes in, asks to see this tray of jewelry. Had 34, 36, whatever, diamond rings on it. And she just kind of does like a smash and grab.
They were known for their smash and grabs, weren't they?
But she didn't have any assistance. There was no lookout. There was no nothing. So she just grabs and runs out the door.
And she's in her garb, right?
She's in her garb. Okay.
Yeah.
Runs out the store in her fancy clothes, right smack into a cop. It hadn't had time to dump it off or anything like that, so she got caught. She got jailed. It was a sad day for her.
So that's how Maggie was arrested.
How she got arrested.
So then after Maggie was arrested, did they start kind of following maybe Diamond?
No, they already were.
Okay.
And it didn't, Maggie's arrest didn't really change anything other than woohoo, we finally caught one by accident because she ran to us.
Uh-oh.
You know, it was.
That's why I don't. Well, not the only reason I don't steal.
Yeah.
But my luck would be I would like finally work up the courage. Yeah. I would take it, run right out the door into a
police officer. Mm-hmm. So it didn't really change anything for the police, except it was a gold star for them, and it didn't really change anything for the 40 Elephants because she went completely against all of their process.
So had she followed the guidelines that were set up by,
it would never have happened.
And now after that though, right, then they finally get Diamond Annie, okay, and we move into the 1950s and high-tech security comes into play, and
dress changes.
Dress changes.
So the fashion of the day changed, and that was a big deal for them because they were, you know, the Victorian garb had the big skirts.
You could get some kiddos up underneath there.
Yes.
Right.
But when it became more streamlined, it was harder to hide stuff.
Harder to get that out of there.
Yes.
And then whatever happened to Alice?
She died at age 55. She had multiple sclerosis. But she's running a brothel. So
she left after she got out. She came back.
After
she runs the brothel.
Yeah.
And has the gang kind of gone their own separate ways, or did they still hang out?
They still had their gang, and she actually, after she comes out of prison for beating up the husband she didn't approve.
You gotta love that.
I do too. She saw that things were going smoothly. They had a new queen, a new leader.
Which was Maggie,
who seemed to, or not Maggie, it was Lillian.
Lillian, yeah.
And she seemed to be doing a great job, a lot more in your face about it, and which kind of scared Alice because she didn't want to be that in your face. She wanted to blend in and wanted her girls to blend in. So she kind of stepped aside, but she still mentored.
Mentors are important.
They are. And she would offer advice to like new recruits and even her old friends that were still involved in it while she was running her brothel.
Those were good times.
They were good days.
Don't you know though, man? The roaring 20s, I mean, can you imagine during that time and then all the dress and the garb and they go in and I just think, and for women to do that at that time, I mean, you know, we were still kind of like in our places at that time and not.
And a lot of these women were married. And they were like bringing home the bacon.
Yeah, some of their husbands just lived off of the what they stole and enjoyed the high life during this time.
There were a lot of husbands that were also in the male elephant gang. I can't remember the exact.
So what did the men, were they the same kind of, I mean, what was their rob? Did they do bank robberies? Did they grocery stores? Because they didn't have the garb. So they were more just your face.
And they were more likely to get caught. And a lot of husbands were in jail. And But the penalty for getting caught at this time robbing was, unless you killed somebody in the process, like just to go in and rob a store, the penalty was like a year, 2 years in prison. So it was worth it.
Yeah, these women are like, hey, I can live in poverty, or I get the life I
get
want.
This, hide it.
I may have to go to jail for a year.
But 2 hots in a cot, or 3 hots in a cot, or what?
Oh yeah.
So even that isn't so bad.
Oh wow, that's pretty. That's just a lot of fun. Isn't it?
I know.
Again, I have to have another little drink.
Fancied up.
To Diamond Annie.
To Diamond Annie.
And her crew of women gangsters who were taking care of that, robbing the rich. Taking care of business, hiding that stuff, getting the life because back then it wasn't like where you thought, oh, there's a great way for me to get out of this life. You were born
you
were riches or you were poor, and that was just kind of how this how it
and
worked.
With the Industrial Revolution coming in and travel being easier, there was, I mean, they knew poor and social status, but it wasn't as in your face,
right?
Because you were in your little area, and your little area was people like you.
So you didn't know
right. You weren't, it wasn't right there. Well, then the Industrial Revolution, travel, rich get richer.
Poor know their places.
Poor know their places, and now the rich, there's a bigger social divide, economic divide, and it's more apparent. So then it was just
like, how do I even the playing field? I can't, I'm a female. I can't.
Blackmail was used by them also. So
what were some of do you know some of the specifics of the blackmail?
I don't. I never could find any real specifics other than they would seduce, and when they were servants, would seduce the master of the house, the man, and then blackmail him. Photography was starting out, so maybe there were
pictures or something.
I mean, because in my mind, I can't picture how that's going to work unless they have some real proof. So maybe a love letter or something to that effect, because they're not going to take the word of a servant over
the master of the house.
So there had to have been love letters or something they could use to blackmail, rather than just I'm going to tell, because nobody cared.
Now, you just couldn't get by with it at all because social media.
It's posted on Facebook before you even realized you did it.
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
So, but yes, they had a real good time.
Oh, they did. It sounds like they had a
real good time until fashion changed, and then when fashion changed and security changed, then
I have to say, that fashion would not be anything that I would ever wear. I mean, look at me. This is kind of it. But I'm glad it changed. But that had to just rock their whole world.
Yep. Yeah.
But it was very conducive to robbing. It had its perks. It had its perks.
One woman did get caught. Actually, women got caught all the time. Most of the time they didn't have anything on it because they had already dumped it. One got caught with stuff on her. They said she had 40 to 50 articles of clothing.
How on earth?
Tucked into those big hoop Victorian skirts.
I almost want to. Part of me wants to go find all of that. Yeah. We'll put it on and then just see. I mean, because it can't be easy to tuck stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Another woman got caught with jewelry. And when they went, somehow, while they were searching her, trying to find this jewelry that they just know she stole, she snuck it into the pocket of the officer.
Oh, she's good. She's good.
And so then it was, you didn't, it looks like you stole it,
You stole it, not me.
Don't blame me.
Oh, so do you think at any time there was kind of a mutual respect between the police officers in this gang? Or do you think, maybe
Probably.
Maybe they were like,
There was fear. Like, if you did you read any of the newspaper articles from the time?
I read a few, yeah.
The police were just hands and thrown up in the air. I don't know what to do, and some of them I ain't gonna mess with. Those are mean women.
Mean women.
I ain't messing with those
She's
mean women.
5'8" with the diamond rocks. She can knock you out. They are mean. That is, hysterical, amazing, and you gotta love strong women.
Yep. I liked the idea of rolling up in a limo, hopping out at once, cars were.
Oh yeah, because they don't expect.
No, hopping out of your limo in your big fancy dress, your little parasol on your shoulder, walking in.
Everybody thinks, oh, how sweet.
I mean, there are probably people staring at them thinking, oh, who is that?
Look how fancy. I want to live like that.
And then all the while, they're tucking stuff in their skirts and walking out with it.
I love that.
Yes, that is the story of the 40 elephants.
And their husbands would sometimes drive the getaway cars, correct? Yeah. I remember that part now, that they would be part of the smash and grab because they would wait out front for them to get the stuff, and then they would help get it to the fence.
Yeah, and sometimes they didn't even get it to an actual person. They had things set up, like if there was a this area, the Elephant and Castle district, there was a train station close by. So they would get to the train station, they would leave empty suitcases just sitting there at the train station, get there real fast, drop everything in the suitcase, take off. The fencer would come grab the suitcase, so they never actually had to see each other.
Right. Yeah.
So they couldn't say, yes, that's the person I gave it to, and the fencer, if he got caught, couldn't say that's the woman I got. There was,
right, because there's no ID.
There was lots of protection and stuff in there.
And then she took it out of that centralized Elephant Castle area, correct? And then she branched out, and so then you have them hitting different places at different times and coming back after it kind of cools down and just living. Parties.
They're having a good time.
Having a great time.
Big parties, lots of alcohol, lots of fancy clothes, lots of money, lots of jewels. Nothing they stole because they were smart.
They were smart. That's that.
Got the money and bought other stuff.
And then you couldn't tie it to them because you don't have the stuff.
And I bet she had a blast walking into those stores knowing they know she steals. Watching her like a hawk, walking up to the counter saying, I want the most expensive ring and here's the money for it. While her friends are in the back.
Robbing them blind.
I mean, she had to have had a good time playing decoy.
Oh, don't you know she did? I mean, that's just...
And by the way, I got money. See? You're watching me for no reason. I'm buying. I'm here to shop.
I'm shopping, not stealing today.
So, all right. Well, let us know your thoughts. I don't know. Maybe we should go back in time.
I think
live as a 40 elephant.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Me too. We'll think about it. If we can get
with the diamonds.
Okay.
Then I could just.
I personally don't like diamonds, so I would rather have like rubies or sapphires.
Well, I would be okay. Just the big rings where you could fight and beat up people, and
that's right.
Just go in and kind of own it, man.
That's
right. You got to own it.
Own it.
Own it.
All right. Let us know your thoughts. Come back and see us soon. And have a good evening.
Hey, you guys, be safe out there and watch out for women in all that garb.
All that Victorian garb.
You never know.
They are hiding some things.